Welcome to Gre Monday. This is the final episode that we're going to talk about establishing a jazz music club in Monroe with our lovely Gre expert, Mr. Zangeneh.
Today we want to talk about question-based instructions. Previous session we talked about evidence-based instruction, and 2 sessions ago I remember we talked about assumption-based instruction. We have the same prompt. It's about Monroe. It's about that jazz club, that they want to establish a jazz club there. But the instruction says, write a response in which you discuss what questions would need to be answered in order to decide whether the prediction and the argument on which it is based are reasonable. Be sure to explain how the answers to these questions would help to evaluate the prediction. So, as you see, it is just like the paraphrased version of the same argument.
Yeah, the same argument.
There, yes. So, what questions should be?
But before finding the questions that we can ask in order to prove this or help us strengthen this argument, can you tell us what the general outlook of our essay will be like?
Introduction, conclusion, not very different according to the instruction, but the body paragraphs. You know, when we're talking about assumptions, so definitely the first line targets that assumption and then actually
develop.
Yes, the other possibilities or whatever that we need to back that assumption. For evidence, definitely we start with evidence. We do not talk about the assumption there, right?
Right. We will start with the evidence,
and we need, to evaluate to prove this. We need such evidence, and we
explain how it works.
Name different types of evidence that we need. And here, question. We can start the body paragraph with questions. It is not very strange here. You know, the first one, for example, is that jazz music is extremely popular in the city of Monroe, right?
Right.
Why? Because over 100,000 people attended Monroe's annual jazz festival last summer, and the highest rated radio program in Monroe is Jazz Nightly, which airs every weeknight.
Yeah.
So we have some questions. We already know the assumption. The assumption is that 100,000 people are residents of Monroe, and they attended this annual festival, and because they attended this, they would definitely go to that jazz
music club.
So the question is this: how many of these people
live in Monroe?
And the answers, 2 answers to this question actually should be considered. The first one, if the percentage is insignificant, so definitely this leads to falling apart of this argument. Yeah. But if that percentage is somehow significant, in that case there are 2 possibilities that we need to include them in our paragraph. If the bigger part or the better part of actually 100,000 people live there, it does not necessarily mean that these people would use this jazz club, but it helps us. It somehow pushes us toward accepting what they say, right? If a lot of people, just like suppose 70,000 people who attended this annual festival,
live in Monroe.
And another question which is important here to be asked is that those people who attended this festival, they attended that solely because they love jazz, or because of some other things. Musicians, I don't know, because of the whole event, because there's so many other things.
It's a festival, after all.
Yes, we don't know this, so we have to ask this. We have to ask for this, and the result of this is very important. If a lot of people attended that because it is solely annual festival.
That's important to know.
Because for example, there are a lot of, I don't know, beautiful dancers there. So, there are some other reasons.
All right.
And if those people attended this festival, did they pay any money for this? Any admission or something?
Was it free? Or
so
was
we
it
don't know this. but jazz club, you need to pay some money.
So it seems like we got a main
Definitely.
question, and that's if those attendants live, in fact, in Monroe or not. And then we got some sub-questions
Yes.
to be asked.
You know,
And the answer to each will show something.
Definitely, it somehow it tells us if this kind of jazz club is going to be
Profitable
yes,
or
not.
Okay.
Definitely, if you go somewhere for free, or if you go somewhere and you're supposed to pay money,
I know the
it
answer.
affects your decision, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It shapes it
It
up.
says that about this jazz nightly program, right?
Right.
Okay. The assumption is that so people choose this
Because they have other options, yeah.
and they love this. So we have some questions. Are other programs?
Are there other programs
Yes,
first?
at that time, or this is the only choice that they have. If there are some other programs, they listen to this jazz nightly solely because they love.
Well, first, we should ask: Are there any other music programs? And then, if yes, is there another? For example, at this time.
Yes. These people choose this because they solely love jazz. And the final question. Again, those people who listen to jazz music, how old are they? And do they fall into the category of customers, are potential customers that would use or would go to that jazz club
music
or
club.
not? And do they have enough money or not?
Again, the purchasing power
Yes.
comes
This is very
into play.
important. So very, very critical questions need to be asked. You know, solely because a lot. And another question: who says that this is highest rated radio program? We do not have any source of information, right? We need some source of
Some
information.
facts and figures.
If the arguer said that, or if the arguer just like I don't know did some research and arrived at this conclusion, this is not absolutely reliable because they want to tell us that hey, people love jazz here. So because people love jazz here, give us that loan and we want to construct or establish this. So,
and it will be profitable. Who says
yes,
that? Yeah.
it is who administered the survey. It's very important.
Right. And then a number of well-known jazz musicians own homes in Monroe.
Okay, the assumption is this is that those musicians selected here because
of
they
the level of popularity?
Yeah, the level of popularity. So this is the question, very simple and very direct. Did jazz musicians choose to live here
Because of this
jazz
very
is
reason?
popular or not? And to what extent this popularity affects the profitability of that jazz club?
Music club.
You know, you see that?
Yeah.
So there are a lot of questions. And okay, if it turns out that, hey, musicians solely have some homes here, right? Because here, if you want to be a little more precise, is that they own homes.
Oh, it doesn't mean they live.
Doesn't mean that they live there, right? So if it turns out to be like this, hey, they already have some homes there.
Do they, in fact,
it's
live?
a kind of investment for them. They don't live there, right? So we need to ask this question: do they go there? Do they live there? And if the answer is yes, still, it doesn't necessarily mean that people love
Secure the profitability
jazz,
of the
because
music
maybe
club.
because of weather, because of some other factors. When we want to choose somewhere to live or somewhere to own, there are some other factors important, not the level of popularity of our jobs there, right? So we need to ask some questions regarding it.
Right. How many should we be selective, or we should include all of these questions?
No, selective, definitely.
So how many questions do you think are enough?
For body paragraphs, you need to develop three body paragraphs at least.
Right.
And each body paragraph 6 to 7, even more lines. I myself usually write 4 to 5 body paragraphs. On the whole, I try to wrap it up in 7 paragraphs.
7 paragraphs? How many questions? I mean,
just like
I don't want you to give us a precise number, but
4 or 5 basic questions, and there
are some follow-ups. All right, great. Should we discuss more?
Yeah,
like there's some other lines, like
the popularity. According to this nationwide
Right,
study,
certainly,
$1,000 they pay. So
On jazz and
we don't know what sectors these people who spend $1,000 spend their money on. What is the exact definition of entertainment?
So what portion of that 1,000 per year goes to jazz music clubs?
Yeah, this is very important. And nationwide means nationwide. Is it somehow equally distributed or not?
That was tautology, but nationwide means nationwide.
Because definitely in some countries we have some cities that are richer than other cities. I mean, the level of employment, the facilities, everything is much better than other parts of the same country. So it is very important for us to know that purchasing power of people in Moro,
Right.
in comparison with the rest of the country.
Yeah.
But where do they stand exactly? We don't know that.
We should ask this very particular question. All right, and I guess that's it. Yeah?
Yes.
Thank you
And
very
a lot
much.
of other questions.
And a lot of other questions. We don't have time for all the questions. So thank you very much. As usual, it was very insightful again. And thank you guys. Hope to see you again next week. Bye-bye.